welcome you for another session. Today on the session, we will check we learn something about the pattern, which is about the performance templates. So as we had discussed earlier in the session about the process for the document types. This is the continuation which also the part of performance step. Now on this session, we will see how to create a template section using one of the section types, which are all the section types that is available with this now. So as it is shown in this video, you can see that we have, I have mentioned here the 7 section types. So what do we do with the section types is, we actually decide. So in performance template section altogether, we decide what part of the section are we going to evaluate. So when you are evaluating an employee, you have to evaluate based on his skills, based on certain achieved activities. So how do you base this? As part of your annual performance, what according to you is important for evaluation? How are you going to rate the employee performance? On what basis? So this what basis what we say. So this is going to be decided based on their business rules. We will decide. Okay. Let's say, for example, based on I have an organization which is going to do the annual review on yearly basis, and on what basis we do is, we need to see if the employee has completed certain assigned goals for him. If he has completed, what level has he achieved those goals? To what level has he completed those goals? Or if there is anything like based on manager. So manager would actually continuously monitor employee's performance, and manager would actually provide him some feedback, saying that okay, he has worked on all of this. So accordingly, he will be able to meet this criteria, and he has done so and so work. So manager is someone who is actually giving him the feedback, and then we are deciding based on his record. Or if it is based on what skills he has completed. So like there was some leadership activity that he was engaged in, and he did it very, the staff or the employee, they did very, they have given a very good performance in that case. So these are the criteria we decide. So this is how a performance template section also comes into picture. Whether to decide on what basis you are going to evaluate, whether it's annual performance, midterm performance, or quarterly performance, anything. So in the process flow, we have decided like what is what we would be doing, who would be doing that activity. So that is decided at the process flow. Whereas template section is going to decide the criteria on what criteria you're going to evaluate the performance of the employee. So now here Oracle has provided 7 criteria. I think this is going to cover most of the scenarios, and we do not have to find out a new scenario wherein this is not going to be achieved in this section. Okay. So, well, we have a competency, like I was saying, based on the employee skills, based on his profile, what skills he has achieved, what skills, new skills he has got, what existing skills he had, which is going to be very helpful for the project. So that could be decided in the competencies section types. Whereas performance goals, it is based on the goals, both performance goals and development goals we have seen in the goal section and the goal courses, where performance goals is about the work he is doing, whatever the goals aligned with that, it is about the performance goals. Whereas the development goals is about the career progression. So whatever that employee wishes to achieve to progress in his career, so that would be assigned into the development goals. So both these both based on this, if I have to decide, okay, this is what is this performance, then I would have the section types as either the performance goals or the development goals. And overall summary is like, oh, so now let's say a organization is looking for multiple criteria, like based on the goals, based on the skills, based on manager feedback, everything it is being checked. So in that case, overall, what is his performance? So it's like a final verdict that is given based on overall performance of their employee. So that would be covered under the overall summary sections. Worker final feedback. It's like worker himself. He acknowledged, okay, this is all something that he has done, and based on that, he'll say, okay, this is all I have completed or achieved so far in this year, and accordingly, I would like to have my performance evaluated. So that is what it is. Then we will allow employee to provide the feedback about his performance. So that is what is on worker final feedback. Manager final feedback, the same thing which manager does it for on behalf of the work. And then questionnaire, it's like based on the responses. So you can rate the questions also, like even the peers or the any co-workers, the team members, anyone, if they are trying to give him some, give the employee some evaluation feedback, then we would have that covered under the questionnaire. So here, based on the response for the questions we get. So we provide the questions there based on the, like what is something that you have like about the employee's performance, about their behavior in the organization, everything. Based on what business logic or business wants to cover. So we can have that in terms of questions, and based on the response, we could assign the responses to some score as well. So here also we could decide what is the rating for the employee, and then accordingly we could decide his performance in the evaluation. So here we have in the performance template section, there's basically two sections you see it while creating the template, which is section processing and then item processing. Section processing, it's to decide what is the section what is the criteria we wanted to select. Under this, you could see section types. You will be able to select the section type. We will see in the interface like how to create it. And also we will see how to add the rating model respective for the respective sections. So how do we add the rating so that we can calculate those ratings. So in parallel, if we add the rating, how do we want to calculate those ratings? That's also there. And in case, see, I have a competency, there could be a multiple competency, and to all those competency also I want to rate it. So then I would give, I would calculate the overall calculations. So if that is the case, then I can enable the each items. Okay, then calculate the rating for the each items. So with this enable or the item processing, you could see it for competency, performance, and then development. So it's like we have items for competency, we have multiple goals, but whereas overall summary, you cannot have a difference and that. Similar cases with the worker final feedback, manager final feedback, and questions. So only for these three criteria, we would be able to give the items. So that can be decided in the item processing. If you select the section type so as any of these four, then we would not be able to see anything under the item process. Okay, so enough with the theory. Let's go to the system and then we will check how we can create it. So I'll go to the performance under my client groups. I have logged in as a application implementation consultant tool. Now I'll go to the performance template section. So here what we are seeing is the classify page. Probably what we could do is we can enable the Redwood and we can see it from the Redwood itself. So that as that's something that's been buzzing, Redwood as a new feature in the application. So probably we'll learn there itself on the new interfaces. But for that, we have to enable the Redwood. while this is already taught in some of the other classes, so I'll just quickly enable the Redwood profile values. Absence again. My message as well. Let me enable this profile value. There are multiple profile values that we will have to enable. For each group of pages, there is a profile code that we have to activate. For now, rest to all profile values are activated. So I'm going to just activate this. Let's go back to the home page. See, I may have to log out, but let's see once. Back to my client groups, performance. And then we will go to performance template section under the setup and maintenance. The new interface, what you're seeing is a Redwood page. Let's click on add and we'll create one new template section. I will say 2025 performance template. So let me create for the competency. Rather than recognize the word. The from date to date is mandatory, which I have to provide. This speak up for this lot. So the section type, like we were discussing, we have these 7 section types. Competency is nothing but content section or the profile contents. For now, I'll keep the competency as my section types. So I'll let me show you the other one also. If I say worker feedback, final feedback, you wouldn't see anything. Like I was saying, it's only the section processing where you don't even see adding the rating model because worker and final manager final feedback, there isn't anything to be added for the rating. It's just in terms of comments, you will be able to add the feedback. So you write the comments there. Whereas questionnaires, and so for each questions, if you want to enable the scoring that you could do, And then what is the weightage that you wanted to give for this individual section types, that we could decide. So let's say I'm going to add multiple sections. There are multiple case criteria that I wanted to decide my performance evaluation. Then I create multiple sections here, and then I would add it into the template. So in such case, each template would be a part of each section would be part of the evaluation. If that is the case, let's say I'm going to say I would add three cases. One with the questionnaire, the other one with the competency, and the other one with the goals. For a section, I'm going to give the weightage as 20. So other 80% would be distributed between the competency and the performance goals. If that is the case, I could give the section weight, and then what should be the minimum weight for this section. That also I could define. So in this way, if I wanted to include this scoring as well to the overall summary calculations, like for overall, whatever the evaluation happened, that scoring, that rating has to be included with the scoring as well. If that is the case, I would have to enable this checkbox. Now, if I go to the development goals, here you have a section as well as the item processing. Item processing is to individually check for the goals. Say similar case with the performance goals as well. In the performance goals, that one thing, one additional thing that you would see is this evaluation type. It says, see now I'm seeing these two types. This is something which I could add it under the lookup value. There is a lookup for this. We'll see that towards the end. So there's a lookup for it where you could add this lookup, and then the evaluation type could be decided. This could be decided here or while you are creating the goals also, it could be decided then. And then you could decide the rating model. What should be, if I attach the goals, what should be based on what rating model? If you have created a new rating model, you could select that. Or if there are some selected rating models as well, based on that, if you want to select that, also you could decide. We have already done a rating model class. If you have not checked that already, you can refer them. So the rating calculation, so this is going to remain same. That is average of the rating. So if you have individual items, the average of what rating, or all ratings, all items, you could do that. Or if you want to do the sum of all the ratings, the band of all ratings, or the fast formula. The fast formula also you could decide. You have to write a fast formula individually for it. And then decimal places. That is at what for decimal value that you wanted to give. If I want to rate it like out of 10, there should not be any decimal values, then I give the decimal places as 0. Or if I want to say, no, it should be like 9.1, 9.3, something like that, then I would give a decimal value as 1. If I give it as a 2, then I could have the 2 decimal places also calculated while I'm evaluating the ratings. So the standing, the rounding rule also we have, if we wanted to use the rounding rule option. And then mapping, whether you want to rate it based on the numeric rating or it is based on the points. We have both numeric value and the points value in the rating model that you could decide it. Mapping method, where do you want to map it? So is it to the highest value no matter what value we get, or is it to the lowest? It's like flooring method. And then you want to enable the manual section rating. Even though there is some rating that is calculated by the system based on whatever the rating model we attach. If you want to override that, then you could check this box so that HR could manually manually provide the rating as well. Let's say there are some cases where it's not covered in the evaluation, but there are some thing which employee has done. So if there is some additional rating that a manager would like to give because of that new additional activity or the skills the employee has achieved, then manager would be given a provision or a privilege for him to manually override the rating the system has calculated. So if you want to allow him, then you would check this box. And also, if you check this box, okay, manager is going to make the adjustment on the manual ratings. Fine. But you want to make the manager give the justification for adjusting them manually. So they have to add the comment saying that, okay, this is the reason which I'm adding the manual adjustment. Whether I'm removing the manually system calculated value, or I'm adding a new value to it. So that could be decided. And also, if you want to add the comments for the performance goals, you could do that. Weightage, like I was discussing for the questionnaire, if you want to give a weightage for this also you could give with a minimum weightage. And if there are multiple goals, if you want to enable, see overall, the section is going to be like it is going to see for each individual goals, whatever the employee has done. Overall, what is the rating that could be decided here? If you want to enable each scoring as well, if you want to record it in the system, then you enable this. Ultimately, it's the overall calculation that is going to happen. So the rate items also we could do it. Your target performance rating. Then whatever the rating that I have provided here under the section, this would be calculated. Enable the item comments as well. If you want to enable each individual comments, then you could enable this. So now if I select the competency, you have to select one extra thing that you see here. This you have to select the competency name here. What competency you have added, so that would all come here. And then here the competency, what we are doing is nothing but the content section which we are going to add in profile management, which we have already discussed in the profile management classes. So there you have to add the content section items, and then that would be synchronized to the employee skills and qualifications. So accordingly, if we want to gauge that as part of our calculation, then we will select the competencies. So there could be a multiple competencies as well. So similar to the goals, we have the rating calculations. If we want to manually override the calculation and enable each content items, that is all available here. Okay. So yes, let's create one. I'm just going to keep this. I want to just average this. This is my value. I'll just keep it 0. Enable it. Enable the comments. Weightage also I'll give it as 50. And then, item processing is also enabled. So based on this, if there are items, multiple items, then it would be enabled. If I want to select the minimum weight, maximum weight, if you want to make that as a required. If you want to use specific items also, then see if there could be a multiple items, and if you want to only do it for certain items, you could select that individual items here. So I'll just disable this and click on submit. If there are any errors, right, it will show what error it is. So it is saying the rating type value must be performance. The value must be performance when any of the 4 conditions are true. That is, these conditions include when the rating item indicator is yes, or the item calculation is performance. The condition also include when the use section rating model is yes. Okay, so we just created that, and under the search results, we'll be able to see what performance template that we have created. This was the one. And what you're saying in use, right? If I attach this template to the template section to our template, then you would be able to see that it is in use. Okay, only when this is attached somewhere, you would be able to see that as in use, and you wouldn't be able to delete it. Now, the ones which I've created, I would be able to delete it as well because it's not tagged anywhere. Whereas this, it's been used, which is why we are not able to delete them. Okay. So that was how we would be able to create the template section based on the requirement. What section that you wanted to evaluate, we would be able to create the respective sections. There could be a multiple sections as well. You need not have to navigate here to the template section when you are attaching the template. You can create it from the template as well. We will see in the next session how to create the performance template and attach these competencies or whatever the template section you want. Until then, thank you.